Ron, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. Half gallon of milk with only a quart container, lots to cover. So I'm going to just get started. No, I'm not talking about our Infinity architecture. However, most people, as Ron noted, remember us for the patent on stateful inspection and really the first commercial firewall. But our portfolio is so much broader and more comprehensive. Remember, we're a software company. I always like to start off and remind people of that. But today we're talking about, excuse me, cloud. And in particular, I always, I like to start off with some stats. And you've all been hearing this. So on fire, right? Going through the roof, taking over the world. I caution everyone, this is great news, but we've got some serious work to do because when you look at it with perspective, and albeit this is a 2018 number, but still, it was less than 5% of the total IT spend that we're investing in cloud. And so what's the moral of the story? I love how Matt Assay spun this message. He said, we need to unshackle everyone and make sure they understand, hey, there's some really great benefits. And excuse me, in fact, we pay the Gartner tax. And I've got a document from October last year, drafted Neil McDonald, Tom Kroll. It says, headline, how to make cloud more secure than your own data center. And in the summary, executive summary, last sentence, properly managed security and risk management leaders can secure cloud better than their data centers. Wow. So that should be encouraging news. How many of you have this behind your enterprise, behind your building? I mean, this is why cloud will prevail. This is why we all are going to move there. I had the pleasure of being on a panel outside of Montreal in Tremblant, IDC conducted, and the analyst said, we're all going to be moving to the cloud. It's just going to take 40 or 50 years. I think that's accurate. There's a lot of confusion. I wish I had the picture that would show Starbucks Cloud Macchiato, right? It's in our vernacular so deep, but there's a lot of confusion and misunderstanding. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you've been the captain of your own ship for the last multiple decades. You've chosen the harbor, where to anchor, the petrol, the oil weight, everything you're going to eat, everything. You've truly been the captain of your own ship. And now, well, the game's changing a bit, and you're going to be renting a slightly larger boat. Now, I want this to invoke a bit of a chuckle, but this is really accurate because the previous boat will never have more than that one bedroom, whereas in the mixed metaphors here, in the public cloud world, at the click of a button, you can have as many as you need, and they'll disappear just as quickly. But just because you've been the captain of your own ship, I would suggest it doesn't necessarily mean you're qualified to get in the bridge, certainly not without some guidance, some help, and maybe some partners. Now, there are a number of things you're not going to see in your data center that you will see in the public cloud. And one of them, I'll remind everyone of the sprawl problem back when we first initiated virtualization. Right? I mean, it was awesome. Everybody loved that we started to really take advantage of our CPU, but all of a sudden we had vMotion and inter-VM communications. Well, if you thought it was bad then, let me tell you, it is far more severe today. The other thing is what we love is it's this ephemeral, almost breathing and alive, heaving up, heaving down aspect, but it introduces some challenges, right? For example, think of just functions and how our whole life we've kind of keyed off of IP addresses and how that really kind of just falls apart when we're doing any kind of forensics. If there's been some sort of Lambda function conducted, right? Because of the way it's using those IP addresses. So these are reasons why you just have to look at getting tools that can help you. I mentioned you choose the food in the cupboard. Well, you know, when you're in this environment that scales up and down, it's compliance and consistency and uniformity. It's making sure that you can always deliver with consistency the enforcement of your policies and the enforcement of your compliance rules at all time. Now, I heard the discussion earlier. I thought it was very interesting. I think, you know, this comes from a constituency of 400,000 members out of Cybersecurity Insiders. We're conducting the 2020 research now. This is from 2019, and far and away, we see multi-cloud and hybrid. You know, almost everybody has physical devices that they're dragging along, right? I mean, almost everybody has this physical tail, and there's always something that's a holdout. You know, Ron mentioned the COBOL or other applications that may not be able to go to the cloud. So there are always some laggards, but we certainly expect multi-cloud hybrid is going to prevail as the model. Now, what are the challenges? Well, I'll tell you, the two biggest, and they're very, very close, are one, compliance, maintaining and assuring compliance. And I think it's in part because every government on the planet is now imposing a lot more on all of us, and there's some serious and severe consequences. And you'll see a very close number two, visibility, right? I mean, it's deja vu all over again. We have to be able to see before we can do anything. Now, I'm a simple man, and this is why I put this up to, you know, this is my example of an on-premise versus public cloud data center. I don't think anyone would argue both of these are images of places to go swimming. Now, that may be where it bifurcates and goes into separate directions, because I would suggest on the left, you're more worried about pH or chlorine level, or if there's enough water in the pool, because you have to go get the hose, you have to fill it up, right? On the right, visibility is certainly an issue, but you also may be more worried about whether something's going to bite you or eat you. And you'll also notice it implies the ephemeral, constantly moving, changing world that the cloud is with that waterfall. So, you know, the nuances and the subtleties are definitely what get you. And what a lot of people try to do is, you know, I do want to mention, you know, compliance, we all do it, but we all do it like accounting, a little bit differently for our environment, just for us. And what we've done is we've tuned our on-premise, right? And so now we want to move up and be able to customize our compliance rules and policies up in the cloud using those native tools. And quite frankly, they're going to fall short. Now, I have so much more I'd love to tell you. I can't because I don't have enough time. But what I do want to show you is how simple, how powerful, how easy it is using CloudGuard Dome 9 to customize rules. So let me bounce over to my UI. And now I'm going to log into CloudGuard Dome 9. And this is our posture management solution. You can see that we support a broad range. This is our preview dashboard. I'll just click. This is the old view for those of you that may have seen it before, but you can see we present you with all of your inventory, give you a quick high-level snapshot of the environment from a compliance and network security perspective. This is the new dashboard that we're working on. You can see I see all my inventory. I could drill into all of this, but again, I don't have the time. So you'll see along the left-hand pane, the product's very comprehensive. It's a very complete platform that we're adding more and more and more to. And what I really wanted to emphasize and show is the power and ease of the underlying language called GSL, Governance Specific Language, and how easy it is to customize compliance rules. Now here you can see, I've got, I mean, what, over 700 different bundles And these consist of multiple rules. Here you can see Dome9 best practices, for example. First thing they tell you to do is make sure your Kinesis server is encrypted at rest, right? So we have all of these predefined. But as I mentioned, a lot of times I want to customize it. I want it just for me, just my rule. Well, I'm going to show you how powerful and easy it is. So with the GSL Builder, of course, I could script and write it if I was a programmer, but I'm not. I'm going to use the Builder. You can see the environments we support. We're going to go in and, classic one, right? I need to make sure all my S3 buckets are encrypted. I have to make sure all my S3 buckets are encrypted. This is how easy it is to write a rule. You'll see the context being built on the right. S3 buckets should have encryption, and then I close the scope. Now I can go down and I can select, what do I want to run this against? What account? A specific one? Production, a test, where? No, I'm going to actually go into the production environment. I could choose a particular region and then drill down into an individual VPC if I wanted. In this case, I'm going to check the entire production environment, and you'll see, voila, I'm in great shape. Okay, but here's the power. Here's the power. Because I want to customize my rule. I just got a notice that we're going to be implementing a little bit of Azure. And so now every S3 bucket needs to have an ID with AWS. So I click and ID equals, and then I just type in AWS. I hit add, clear this search out. I hit the same environment I'm going to test it against, and I click test, and you'll see I'm going to obviously fail. But the point is the power, the ease in which just a Gilligan like me can go in and customize and modify those rules. It's really, really powerful, and one of the most powerful aspects of the CloudGuard Dome9 platform, and in fact, also in the Logic platform. The underlying language is GSL. So with that, I want to thank you very, very much. I got a podcast I'd love for you to listen to, Talking Cloud, where guess what we talk about? I'm the Gilligan. I get a lot of really great technical folks, a lot of smart executives. Would love for you to check it out. And if you like it, tell your friends. And so with that, if there's any questions, Ron, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, I'll hand it back to you.